Okay. All right. We are doing pretty good with time. Let me share this. Oops. Look at that. We're like 3 minutes early tonight. Share it with the Harrisville Haunted House. Share it with Jack Shadow. I know he appreciates that. And we'll share it with Chiller Chat's page. Where is Chiller? There we go. And you know what? I wonder if I can share it with the group. We'll share it with Chiller Night. I think I've been doing that lately. Take it off that page so there's no echo. Raymond says, Brian! Raymond! Thanks for joining us. What? Oh. Take it off that page so there's no echo. I see. I see what's going on here. All right, just getting set up. All right. Things are looking pretty good. Look at that. Doing very good with time. Got a few seconds left. Okay. Getting comments. Awesome. I'll read those here as soon as I start the intro, which is coming up at any second now. All right. Aha! Any second has arrived. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is Brian Hogue. Welcome to the Chiller Night Live pre-show. It is Saturday, February 13th, 2021. And I just, from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until a couple minutes short of 9 p.m., I sit here, I chat with you folks about the upcoming Chiller Night programming on Stream TV, as well as other topics of horror, science fiction, the paranormal, or even collectibles and nostalgic items within those genres there. The Dead Vault Horror Show says, salutations, my friend. I hope all is well. Finally caught a live feed. I've been away from social media for a minute, but now definitely sharing this to the page now, my friend. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Carrie says, still didn't get my shot yet. I'm waiting on the one shot that should be available the 1st of April. What's that, for the COVID shot? Well, good luck. I hope that turns out well and works out well for you. Carrie says Michael Hughes. Al says, hi everyone. Hey Al, thanks for joining us. John says his champagne is always chilled. His favorite suit has ruffles. I like where this is going. He is the most interesting horror host. And now it's time for Chiller Night Live pre-show. Hello. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That is quite the intro there, John. Thanks. That's cool. Brad says, it's a Chiller Night pre-show with Brian Hogue. Sorry, Brian Hogue. Now here's Brian. What's on tonight, Brian? All right, well, here's a schedule that will be on at 9 p.m. tonight in about an hour on Stream TV. Here we go. You ready? Well, it's too late now. I'm doing it. All right, look, 9 p.m. Chiller Night Theater. The movie is Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet. 11 p.m. Chiller Chat. My guest is Kerry Haggard. And he is the author of Traveler. I'll speak a little bit more about that in this episode. And 11:30 p.m. Chiller Night Theater. The movie is Track of the Moon Beast. And then at 1:30 Chiller Chat. Host is the host is me. It's actually a live one that we taped on the 2nd. So there's some interaction there with the viewers, just like we have here. And let me turn this a little bit. Chiller Night Theater at 2 a.m. EGA. So there you have it. There's our schedule for tonight. All right. Let's see. Cassandra says, hi, everybody. The Deadbolt Horror Show says, long live Jack Shadow. Thank you. Let's see. Some salutations back and forth here amongst the viewers. Adam says, hi. Hey, Adam, thanks for joining us. Raymond says, Glam has arrived. All right. Angry Pennsylvanian, my peeps. And Bonehead says, Higgins, hello to the Chiller Night crew. Adam says, any luck contacting guests, Brian? Yes, I've been having some luck. I've been doing pretty good here this week. So Adam has been giving me some leads for potential guests for Chiller Chat, of which I very much appreciate. That is very, very much appreciated. So thank you, Adam. And I'll mention that a little bit coming up here in just a few minutes too about the Chiller Chat. Excuse me, folks. You know, I was a bit under the weather, or under the virus, I guess. But my last remaining remnants of this ailment is a lingering cough, which I cannot seem to shake. So I gotta pop a cough drop every once in a while. So you might see a few of those this episode. Al says, hi, Doc. Is Doc with us? There he is! Doc Dredd is in the house. All right, thanks for joining us, Doc. All right. David says, good evening. Champagne popped and poured. Cheers. And Kevin, all right, our friend Kevin. Hello, Brian. Kevin here. Very sad to hear the death of Dark Shadows actor Christopher Pennock. I will probably watch some of his episodes of the Gothic soap. I'm sure he will. Well, rest in peace to actor Christopher Pennock. I hope I'm saying his last name right, but one of the Dark Shadows actors. All right. Okay, Angry Pennsylvanian has given us a metal mission. All right. Your metal mission for the evening is Face of the Melinda by Opeth. Face of the Melinda by Opeth. All right. Might quiz you on that later, so take note, take heed. All right. All right, some more salutations back and forth. Awesome. PK Lynch says also, hi family, how are you doing? Well, I'm doing good here. Hope everyone's doing good tonight. How is everybody doing? Good night. Deborah says, hello, Chiller Thrillers. Hello, Deborah. Thanks for joining us. Terry says, just discovered this show a few days ago. I was a longtime fan of Chiller Theater and Saturday nights out of Pittsburgh back in the 70s and 80s. Been looking forward to a similar programs for a long time. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. I was actually speaking of Chiller Theater, which was my inspiration for doing this. I was a longtime fan of Bill Cardell, and I knew him during the last couple years of his life, and he's very supportive of what I was doing here. He was a guest on the show, and he was going to be on. He was actually going to be on a stretch of 10 episodes, and then sadly he, 6 days before, this is how supportive he was. I mean, 6 days before I went to go film, we were going to do his segments, all his segments in one day, and just chop them up, and 6 days before that, I got a phone call that we had to cancel due to some health concerns, and then 6 weeks after that, he had passed away. But he was willing, he wanted to do that all the way up to, even though he wasn't feeling well. Obviously, he wasn't feeling well. So, just a really sincerely great guy. I was actually chatting with his one of his daughters this week, and she was seemed very, very kind, very nice, and we were just chatting back and forth a little bit about Chilly Billy. But those were the days. Those were the days. But and I gotta say, it was kind of funny because we were getting set to do a we were doing these little short snippets that were going to be in between breaks of the movie, where Chilly Billy was going to have his own segment. Again, this would be like a run of like 10 episodes straight. And he says, he told me, he said, Brian, I think, could we do this with Jack Shadow, on set with me? Well, I say on set, what we're going to do for his convenience, and just for his generosity of giving me the time, because I know I value my time. I know he's value his time. But I was very fortunate to just be able to go down and that he would agree to something like this. But he said, can you put that stuff on down here, and can you see out of those white eyes and all that? And I said, yeah, I can do that. So the plan was to have Jack Shadow be there and kind of, not doing really a skit or nothing, but just basically introduce him and then step off to the side and have Chilly Billy Cardell, but the fact that, he was even agreeable to do that was just amazing, because to me, I grew up, that was a little kid in me, just like, wow, I can't believe this. This is such a surreal experience. Yeah, he was a neat guy. Neat show that they had. Let's see. Terrence says, how was it to work with Eric Sprouse on Dead and Buried Treasures? Well, it was I wasn't, what I did was I talked to Eric, and he got in touch with me. We were doing his Halloween special, in which he had several different horror hosts. And I said, well, what's your idea? He says, well, he sent me a script. He sent me a script for Jack Shadow's parts. And I said, okay. So basically, I taped my part and sent it to him. And if you've watched that episode, there's like there's a conversation going on there. So he edited that part, but in my head, as I'm doing the Jack Shadow dialogue, I'm in my head, I'm trying to time out his responses. But that was kind of cool. That was neat. I thought it was fun. It was neat seeing that program. He played Night of the Living Dead that night, and he had it so that the horror hosts were like interacting with, like he had a little side story going along with the movie. So that was kind of fun. I thought it was fun. And then PK, I'm saying PK, I'm just reading it. Paul says, this is so much fun. Group therapy with Uncle Jack. Oh, jeez. Hey, if whatever helps, that's cool. I just appreciate you guys being here. Dr. Dredd says, I'm so glad I had a chance to meet Bill Cardell in person. I used to watch his show whenever we visited my grandparents in Johnstown. Yeah, I remember you telling me that once. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. Brad says, we still love Chilly Billy. definitely. Terry says, wish that would have happened. He was a great guy. This show looks like a good tribute to his late night horror legacy. Great job. Ah, thank you so much, Terry. That that is the best compliment that I can get. Anytime anybody makes any type of comment like that, to me, honestly, that is because that's why I got into this. And I just, like I said, I grew up maybe like a lot of you guys, watching for me, the hosted horror, the horror host was Chilly Billy. And in fact, I gotta say, I was a little kid. I didn't even know that there were other horror hosts. Like I wasn't aware of that fact. I just thought, well, Chilly Billy, that's a guy, watching TV, and I didn't quite understand, or I did later on in the later years, but that wasn't, that was in Pittsburgh and it wasn't everywhere. When you're a little kid, you just don't know. In fact, when I started this show and it was playing in Oil City, it started out only on the local access channel. At that time, it was a local access channel called Venango Video. It was airing in the Oil City and the Franklin stations, which covered like a good portion of Venango County. And so there were a lot of, and I found this out only later, about maybe 8 or 9 months into the show. No, about 5 months. I found out that there were lots of families and lots of kids watching the show, and I didn't realize that at first. In fact, I was a little shocked by that. I was a little shocked by that, and the reason I knew that was people were coming through my haunted house that year after I started the show, and they were coming into the first room at Jack Shadow. They're like, "What's the movie tonight, Jack?" Or if it was on a Friday, what's the movie for tomorrow night? And then their kids would want to get a picture taken with me and stuff like that. Now that to me, honestly, like that was a big shock to me, to be quite candid. I didn't think that there were that many people watching it, but there you go. You just never know. I sort of trailed off a little bit, didn't I? But I love this stuff, and like circle back to it sound like the one lady. Yeah, when the compliment there about Chiller Theater, and the just even putting me within the range of that's just amazing. Even if it's just like, I see what you're trying to do. It's a great tribute. That's a great compliment to me. Thank you. Paul says, can you please give the lineup again? Thanks. I sure can. That's why we're here. Partly why we're here. All right. 9 o'clock, Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet. 11 p.m. Chiller Chat. My guest is Carrie Haggard. 11:30, Chiller Night Theater. The movie is Track of the Moonbeast. 1:30 a.m. Chiller Chat. The host is me. Actually, that was a live one that we just taped back on the 2nd. And then 2 a.m. Chiller Night Theater. The movie is Ega. So there you have it. And Carrie Haggard, he comes on and he's talking about his book Traveler. The Traveler is about it's a story about the 1897 alien crash in Aurora, Texas. So, kind of neat. He gave me a copy of this when I had him on the show. Very, very cool guy. Let's see. Paul says, does anyone else here have an ice storm? I'm in DC. We do not. I can say we did get some freezing, like a drizzle earlier, but that was about it. That was the worst we got. Doc says, you're famous. I wish that were the case. That'd be nice. I guess I'm famous in in a little cluster of people, which is fine with me. That's that's amazing that that's even happening. Brad says they aired Saturday Night Live every Saturday night all over the country except Pittsburgh because of Chiller Theater. Yeah, yeah, they got held back for years, but because WPXI, it used to be WIIC and it became WPXI, was an NBC affiliate station. Saturday nights on Saturday Night Live, NBC show. So guess what? they were told, no, you're gonna play our main show. And then Raymond says, oh, Bobby. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? How have you been? He says, I've been doing good. How about yourself? I'm glad you're joining us tonight. Thanks. Raymond says, I only know one horror host back in the late 60s and early 70s. Count something. What a dope. Oh, yeah? Where was that at? Where was that at? Maybe we can look it up or something. Or maybe I can look it up for next week. Oh, Plenty in Colonial Beach, Virginia. Is that where that was in the 60s and 70s? Adam says, very cool, 1890 UFO. That was weird. Sightings were fairly bizarre. Basically, blimps before blimps were ever a thing. Good stuff. Yeah, it is kind of interesting to hear about UFO sightings, you know, back in the 1800s, and then, you know, or what can even be, I guess, deciphered as UFO sightings even back in the days of the Bible, or, you know, who knows? Who knows how long they've been, well, if you watch Ancient Aliens, they've been with us for a very long time, huh? Since, like, the beginning. Some of those episodes. Paul says, keep the beer outside. Oh, because of the ice storm? Keep it nice and cold? David says, cheers! John says, I got tagged with snow twice this week. And yes, it's cold out there, buddy. It was cold out here today. No ice storm, but it was freezing. Terry says, there was another Chiller Theater out in New York. Yeah. But it didn't have a host as far as I know. Call letters were WPIX. I know. Isn't that interesting? What are the... yeah, here's what happened. And I've told this story before too, but in here, like when I first came up with the idea for Chiller Night Theater, I sat and I drawed my little journal here, how to, you know, the name of the show that I wanted, and the came up with like a logo, you know, like that was my first, you know, you can see the logo up here, but this is the sketch from, let's see, that was January 5th of 2015. I did a little Jack Shadow thing here. And that's how, you know, I'm sitting here going with all of these ideas. And I thought, well, I'm going to get in touch with Bill Cardell so I can ask him, like, hey, are you okay with, and I checked, I didn't see Chiller Night anywhere. Of course, it was a homage to Chiller Theater, but, you know, I kind of just combined Chiller Theater and Fright Night, Chiller Night. And so I asked him, I said, I showed him the logo and talked to him about the name, and I was there. I remember we were actually in his living room talking about this, and I said, are you okay with you know, me using a name so similar? I said, it's done out of the greatest respect and a homage to Chiller Theater. He says, no, Brian. He says, you could have even used the son of Chiller, you know, which I took as a profound honor, because that's, you know, a show stemming directly from the parent show, and, you know, he's kind of basically giving me his blessings by saying it. He said, you could have even used Chiller Theater. He said, I wouldn't have personally minded. He says, but I know that the show in New York that you're referring to actually copyrighted that name, that title. And he says, because of that, you know, you wouldn't be able to. And I said, no, I already looked into that, and I was aware of that. I said, but if you're okay with Chiller Night Theater, I asked him just as a courtesy, out of respect, you know, and he was super cool with it. So that's why we have what we have right now. Let's see. Yeah, WPIX. It's so similar, isn't it? And Bobby says he's doing good. All right. Raymond says DC, so you were in DC. Wonder who that would have been. Have to look that up. Paul says Captain 20 is who I grew up with. Oh yeah, Captain 20. It's so strange, isn't it though? Because when you're growing up, you know, it's like whoever your local horror host was, if you were, I say, fortunate enough to grow up during that time, you know, when the stations did have that and they were playing the old Shock Theater packages, you know. Wish I could have something like that to play, you know, some of the Universals and the Hammer horror movies. But like I said, for me, I only knew Chilly Billy. You know, it was only later when, you know, of course, then I started hearing about Elvira. That was in the early 80s, so Doc Dredd, have you ever had Stan Gordon on your show? He investigates UFOs and Bigfoot sightings. I believe he's from your area. I've had him on a couple times, actually, Doc. I've had Stan on a couple times. One, I went to Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Okay, Kecksburg, of course, you might know that, and some of you might be aware of that, was the sighting, or the area where the UFO crash, reported UFO crash back in, what was it, 1962 or 63 in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. So military came in, according to many witnesses in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. They came in and gathered up the craft, the object that made a kind of a loop in the sky and came down in a controlled fall, it was described, and landed in the woodland area in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. But yeah, I did the first interview with him there, and the second one was in Butler County. We were at a paranormal convention when we did the second one. So very nice guy, very nice guy. I got a couple of his books here. Adam says, Wonders in the Sky by Jacques Vallée. I know I'm messing that name up. Jacques Vallée, check it out. Wonders in the Sky. See, I'm fascinated by that stuff, and if I could just do, not that I just want Chiller Chat to be that, but I could very easily have tons of guests on talking just about that subject right there. I'm very fascinated with UFOs. Always have been. Raymond says, Count Floyd sounds real scary. Count Floyd. Yeah, that's a terrifying name. Count Floyd. I'm stuck to something. Let's see. Brad says, we are the last chiller standing. Jason says, a little late to show. A little late to the show. Chilly Billy was amazing. I would sneak downstairs and watch it on the old console tube TV. Yeah. We were allowed to watch it, but my dad and I usually were the only ones that stayed up and watched the entire show. My brothers and my mom never seemed to to make it throughout the whole thing. But we all started at the starting line together. And then John says, Saturday nights back in the 70s, Boston had Simon Sanitarium, a unique host on Channel 5, followed by 5 All Night with George Pennell. That sounds neat. They were just fun days, fun shows and stuff, you know, I think. I have great memories of that. It wasn't just a TV show, and I think you get what I'm saying here, but it was the like Jason sneaking downstairs. There were all these, those good memories, attached with that type of thing. For me, I've mentioned this probably 100 times, but that was my family thing. It was every Saturday night. You hear the theme, an Experiment in Terror. You hear that theme come on, and but it just had that certain sound to it. That certain twanginess. And it's like, oh, something scary's coming on. You go out and we had our little treats, and it was fun. It was just a good time. And like I said, I wanted to, if I could just do a little sliver of that, if I could just bring a little sliver of that to the viewers now, then that would be something. that would be a big accomplishment for me. So that's why I did it. I wanted to share something that I had that was so special to me with others, And I love the fact that there were families with their kids watching, because their kids will get to grow up and they don't know that was a local TV show. Now it's on Roku, so you could be anywhere. But the thing is, like, they for all they know, when they're young enough, that's on TV. That's everywhere and anywhere. So I don't know. There's something kind of magical about it when you're a kid, in a way. Just a lot of fun. Raymond says, recently I watched a few movies hosted by Commander USA. Oh, he was awesome, wasn't he? He hosted out of a New Jersey mall back in the 80s. The ads are hilarious. I love Commander USA. Terry says, there's Svengali out of Chicago. It's okay, but I just can't get into the show too much for some reason. I can't get into the show too much for some reason. Yeah. He's been doing that for a long time, too. And he started out, there was Svengoolie, the original, and then the guy doing it now was son of Svengoolie. And then he just ditched the son of, at some point, and then became, the show became Svengoolie. He's doing that for a long time. Like 40 years or something like that, 35 years. It's been a long time he's been doing it. And he just recently became syndicated. So, I mean, and good for him. I would love to be syndicated. I would love to be able to play licensed movies, So, like I said, good on him. He stuck with it. I've not been at it quite that long. I've just been doing it since, well, not just, but I've been doing it since 2008. And believe you me, it feels like a long time, I'll tell you. Can't imagine doing it for decades like that. And then Brad says, we are the descendants after Chiller Theater, LOL. Oh, Raymond says, I was responding to Glam. Oh. Okay. I'm trying to think of what about Commander USA. I don't know, but if that's the one you're talking about, I loved watching him. Brad says that's why we're the last chiller standing. Brad says these are my favorite things to watch as a kid: pro wrestling and sci-fi horror movies. Yeah, no, I'm right with you. I know what you mean. Brad says I love that stuff. Kevin says, Brian, as you know, gotta get rid of this thing. I'm a fan of horror movie hosts. That's why I created Tara Vincent. But horror hosts are not too known in Ireland and the UK, which was a pity. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that... I know it started in America. It's an American, tradition, but you would think that, there being so much interest in horror movies, I mean, especially like you mentioned the UK, I mean, you had Hammer Horror, and you just had a lot of horror fans over in that corner of the world. I don't know. To me, I would have thought that would have caught on a little more, but I don't know. I don't know why that wouldn't have. But I don't know how it works over there in Ireland, Kevin. Is that do you have to watch what you play? Um, I know it's very strict over here. We got to be very strict on what we play. Um, but sometimes the limitations are a little frustrating. But I'd certainly love to have the licensing, and not have to worry about that. But yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Terry says, yeah, the show's not bad, just not to my taste. Yeah, LOL. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Not to he's he's where I'd like to be. So, I'm not saying anything to knock the guy, but it's a little too. I like the spookiness, it's a little bit too. I don't know, comedy. You know what I mean? It's and that's okay. I mean, we have funny skits and stuff with Jack Shadow. I like doing that stuff, but I also like to see. I also like to reel back and see, like Jack Shadow might do. He might do a scene that's a little funny, and then in the same show, it might come into a segment to where every once in a while, I like to remind the viewers, and I do this very intentionally. I like to remind the viewers who he is. I like to remind the viewers he's a monster. I like to remind the viewers that he's in this old castle, in this dark domain, this realm of monsters, you know. And to me, I just like to remind folks, that he is a monster and it's a horror show. And then we can go from that and be silly in the next skit, But I like to try to keep a balance there. And it's not always easy, but it is something I strive to do. Because when I first started this show, Jack Shadow it was all 100, it was just pure horror, creepy, because he was in a haunted house. He wasn't he wasn't a horror host for the first few years that I had this character. So, and then when I started the show, it wasn't even going to be Jack Shadow as the host. It was going to be another host. And then the TV station asked, because now Jack Shadow was kind of getting known in the area because I was running a couple haunted houses. One year I did the one, and then the second year I went to the other one again and get that started up. And I was asked, would you consider Jack Shadow being the host? And I really didn't want to do that at first. Well, one, because putting on the costume itself is quite a production, and it's something I wondered, like, do I want to do that? Like, how long am I going to be doing this? Am I going to be doing it in the summer? Am I going to be, doing this? I don't know. It was just something I knew how much of a production it was, because at first, like, here's one of the masks. I actually got this out because I was going to show this. Here's an example of the mask. Okay, now this is a foam latex appliance, and at first, when I was doing this, it was a store-bought mask, and then I sculpted this one. This is my own creation here, but you can see it's soft, it's foam latex, and at first these were glued. It was a glued appliance onto the face, and then I had a hood on, like a spandex hood, and I was like painting in the any flesh that was showing. I was painting that in, and it was done in layers. You put the costume on in layers, and so that was one deterrent. The other deterrent was what I'm getting at here is, how do I go from the one characteristic that I really worked at getting, this creepy, scary part down, and I felt I did a pretty good job, because I put a lot into it, how do I get that? Do I want to take a chance of ruining that character, you know, and make him, go the comedic path with him? And I think I was worrying a lot for nothing, because by the time I actually started doing the show, it was a lot easier than I thought to make that transition. I could do both with that character, and then in the haunted house I could be the character that he's supposed to be in the haunted house. So, but let's see. Let me see where I'm at here. All right. John says, oh, Raymond says, I think Ireland would have a TV horror castle. Yeah, you would think so. I'm just, that's interesting, Kevin. I am surprised to hear that. That's something. I would think that you'd really have some, like Raymond says, the old castles. Because I remember, when I was over in England, I lived over there for a while. I was stationed over there. So I would go and visit some of the old castles. And what I found interesting was the old cemeteries, I mean, they, how they look on the old, Hammer movies. Yeah, they're old. They're very old. We have old cemeteries here. But if you think about it, the motherland has very old cemeteries, and the old, some of them are very decrepit and just have that very spookiness about them, So I don't know. Tell them get on that. I know you're doing your part. Jason says Amicus Productions was big in the UK too, overshadowed by Hammer, but still good. Yeah, right. Yeah, they had some very good movies. Raymond says, Glam, Terry, remember the talking hand? The talking hand? Terry says, it's more comedy. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I like, because I know there's kids watching. I didn't really know that at first when I first started on the show, but I started in May of 2008, okay? Now going into October, that's, there's the fifth month, so we go to October. Now we're in the 10th month. And all of a sudden, 5 months later, I'm having families come in with their little kids. And I'm like Santa Claus to them. And that was and I say that, I was more surprised than anything. And it made me a lot more, not that anything was, done that wasn't family friendly, but I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. But then I really thought about it. Now there are shows that don't have to be, or don't follow that, and that's fine. You don't have to. That was just my choice. I enjoyed chiller theater, and that's kind of in the same vein of where I wanted my show to go. But there are some very extremely, far more successful horror host shows that are going on that are, a little bit more, adult oriented, and that's fine. That's, like I said, to each his own. This is the path I have chosen. So let's see. Raymond says, Jack Shadow is a philosopher. He warned me not to make it with a beautiful woman in a burning building. Exactly. Exactly. I'm glad you heeded that advice, Raymond, and because if you hadn't have seen that episode, I mean, Lord knows what could have happened, and could have had some very unfortunate outcomes. You just never know. So I'm glad he was there and was able to give that little bit of advice. That's right. It's funny because when I was watching that movie, I'm there like, whoa, what? Okay, well, I guess this is the obvious thing to point out here for Jack Shadow. Don't do that. And Bonehead says, Bobby Gamonster and Boris T. Buzzard Monster Movie Night. Excuse me, folks. This cough just won't go. He's not as polished as Jack Shadow. Oh, thank you. But he tries. It's something different to watch. Raymond says, Commander USA. Commander would make a face Two eyes and oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that until you just read this just now. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I just remember the old cigar. Hey kids. Let's see. All right, let's try this again. I can't wait until this is completely gone. I mean, the virus is gone, and the pneumonia, I hope is gone. I think it is. Sure, it's not lingering around that long, but I still got the cough. Oh, I still got the cough. Let's see. And Kevin says, and did I mention to you before that I created another classic horror host named Wailing Mary, and she was a banshee? You did mention that, which I thought was a neat idea. I think that it will be a great horror host from Ireland. I think you're right. I think that's actually the perfect place for Wailing Mary to be from. So I'd be interested to see some of those skits. Where can you watch your show at, Kevin? What's on? Is it on YouTube? Where is it? How could we watch it? Brad says, didn't you say that Chiller Night Theater already a syndication? Some stations in the U.S. and Chop Block TV on Roku. Yes, it was. However, the syndication went for a while. It was kind of a thing where I was sending out the shows. Now here's my problem, is getting the shows to the other stations. In fact, that's why I don't do it with Paranormal Warehouse anymore. Nothing that they're doing on their end. It's me on my end. I sit and I try to load the files, and honestly, they've gotten with me on the phone. I've tried it, and it just does. I'm not. Again, people think that I know what I'm doing on the computer, and I can confidently say I don't. I will muddle my way through certain things, and I just happen to catch a break, I guess, and I happen to fall over that obstacle. But there's a lot of stuff I'm still. If I knew what I was doing, I'd be so much further ahead of where I'm at. Because I've been doing this for quite a while, and you would think that I would. I don't know. Chop Block TV. Well, I haven't had any new shows for a while. Chiller Night Theaters, and so I haven't even had any new ones to give to them. But it is something, and I feel like maybe I ought to just stick to Stream TV. I don't know if that's the answer or not, because then I got one place to send it. I don't know why that's a big deal for me, but I do the same thing, I think, to the other stations or to another channel, and they don't get it. And then it was getting to the point to where I'm spending hours of my time frustrated trying to get them a show. This is how simple, there is probably a simple solution to it, but I don't know of it. And I was just, look, I was investing just way too much of my time, and that's not something I have an abundance of extra. So unfortunately, it just got to be like I said, I had, of course, I had Chop Block TV here and Dead Vault, and I had Paranormal Warehouse. Again, look them up, watch them, support them. It's nothing that they did. It was me. I could not for the life of me continuously give them episodes. I don't know why. I just couldn't do it. They weren't getting the shows, and I was becoming just increasingly frustrated. And the other channels, like I just wish. I'll be on, like when I get a little overloaded, getting the shows out there to somebody else. I get a little overloaded with that sometimes, and it's hard for me just to kind of tread water and stay where I'm at, just to try to get this stuff done. And I don't say this to sound like a burden. I don't mean that at all. Or I wouldn't be doing this stuff if it were, something that beat me down every week. That's not the case. I'm not trying to make it sound like that. But to do these extra things, and I know it would benefit me because these other channels and stuff are kind enough to, want to want to play it. But I just wish there were a way to where I didn't have to do that, you know, because I don't know quite how to always do that. So, so that's my frustration. But yeah, it was playing in several TV stations across the country, actually, literally coast to coast. But that's not the case anymore because I got overwhelmed trying to get them new shows. So, and I wasn't, you know, not that, you know, it has to be all about money, but I wasn't getting anything. I wasn't getting anything out of it, you know, maybe an extra viewer or two. I don't know. I never saw any numbers. And that's the thing too. I never see any numbers except for on here. And you know, the numbers aren't, you know, I don't have high numbers and that's fine. It's not all about that, but it would certainly be nice. It'd be nice to see some increase. And yeah, I wish I had the recipe for success when it comes to that. But I think when you're doing everything like kind of on your own, like you're doing everything from A to Z on your own, and then you've got, it's not just that, it's so much more just with life. I mean, we can all relate to that. I just can't keep up with it. I guess that's the bottom line. I just can't keep up with it. I wish I could, because it's fun. I like it. It is work, but I mean, it is fun. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a good solution to all this. It is 8:48. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I got to the third topic, and that was it so far. I do want to say, Chiller Chat for this Tuesday. Sorry. This was a fun episode talking about horror hosts. I mean, like one of my favorite topics. So, Chiller Chat on Tuesday, on February 16th, will be the guest will be the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society. All right. So, how do you watch it? You may ask. Just like you're doing right now. It's Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, Chiller Chat on Tuesday nights. That's a 30-minute episode. It's not an hour like we do here. So, if you get a chance, join the paranormal, or the Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, and you can interact. You can ask questions. You can, you know, leave comments, and we'll be talking to those folks on Tuesday, February 16th. And then, my plan was that Saturday they would be on Stream TV. There's like 2 weeks where they're actually updating stuff at Stream TV for the better, you know, as it was explained to me. So they will now be on Stream TV. That episode of Chiller Chat will be on the 27th. But I'll post all that stuff. I'll post it all, so you don't have to memorize it. And let's see. Bonehead says, "What was the old Saturday afternoon monster movie show in Pittsburgh on WPGH? Does anyone remember that?" David, if you're still with us, I know David Silvio, you had mentioned that one time. Ghost Host or something like that? Is that? I know there was a science fiction one, Science Fiction Theater, and Jason Bates, I think, was the one who remembered that one, and I think told me the station and channel that was on. And then Jason. Oh, speaking of Jason, what's on the show tonight? I missed the Thursday movie. Oh, Dale, are you? Oh my gosh, we were just chatting away. I didn't even mention that. Okay. Dale, if you're on here, I apologize. But, all right. Giving it the proper drum roll. And the movie for Thursday on February 18th will be, there you have it, The Dark Backward from 1991. The Dark Backward will be the movie on the Chiller Night Facebook group page on Thursday, February 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're not a member, become a member. We'll let you in, and you can enjoy The Dark Backward on Thursday the 18th. So there you go. Dale, are you here? Look at all these comments I'm missing. I am so sorry, guys. All right, but there it is. The Dark Backward, and then let me put up our schedule as well for tonight, because we're getting to the top of the hour here. Tonight, February 13th, Chiller Night Theater, the movie's Voyage to the Prehistoric Planet. And then 11 p.m., Chiller Chat, my guest is Carrie Haggard. 11:30, Chiller Night Theater, the movie is Track of the Moon Beast. And 1:30 a.m., Chiller Chat. Now that was a live one that was streamed on the 2nd of this month. And then 2 a.m., Chiller Night Theater, the movie is Ega. There you have it. There you have it. Let's see. John says, what horror movies that put the creeps vibe out are the ones that have children as the true threats, like Children of the Damned or Children of the Corn, because no one would believe that a child could be evil. Yeah, like The Omen. You know, that's no. Yeah. I was gonna say The Exorcist, but I don't know that necessarily. It was, yeah, because it wasn't the girls. I guess it wasn't her own mind that was controlling the situation, but yeah, those are creepy, very creepy. And then Bonehead says, I'm trying to remember that myself. Terry says, back in the UHF days. Terry says, science fiction theater. Yeah, you remember that? It was back in the, I'm going to say the 70s, maybe the mid 70s, I'm guessing. It was like on, I think it might have been Saturday afternoon. It was a daylight show. It was on in the daytime. They played a lot of Godzilla movies. But, I mean, there was all kinds of them. Stuff that I have vague memories of now. I remember the theme music to that one opening up. I remember the theme. You know, I remember these themes. They bring back the memories. Bonehead says, I seem to remember he had messed up hair and weird or bad eye. That one, I remember that one. I remember that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I don't know if that was. I don't know that that was out of Pittsburgh, or if that was, I don't know, like a syndicated one or something, because I just don't, I don't know that that was a local one. I do remember exactly who you, because I watched that one. Jason says, I never knew until last week that Jack Shadow was perched high atop Castle Shadow behind you. Oh, you never saw it? Yeah. Sharp-eyed viewers will catch him up there moving about. He's actually moving around, so if you ever wondered if he's kind of lively for a ruler of the land of the dead, yeah. I didn't want to make the window too big, because I you know, but yeah, he's up there. Kind of gives you an idea where he's at. Castle Shadow. Bonus says, yeah, Terry, that sounds like it. Yeah, hey, I remember watching. I can't remember the name either, though. Let's see, I'm scrolling ahead here. Ken says, can't wait for the show. Oh, yeah, well, not too much longer. A couple more minutes. Brad says, didn't you have Dark Horse on syndication on WICU TV Erie? Well, it aired out of WICU, which was kind of neat because it hit, you know, for a TV station, NBC affiliate station, and that was my big, you know, big feather in my cap at the time when I first started Dark Horse Championship Wrestling, is that I had my own wrestling show, a weekly wrestling show on for almost 2 years, every Sunday on WICU, and it hit 3 states, and I like to say 3 states and 2 countries because it actually overlapped into Canada and some parts of Canada, so it was kind of cool. Terry says, now that you mention it, I vaguely remember It's Alive. Now that wasn't the one that I'm talking about, but I know the show that you're talking about. Maybe that's what I was thinking of when I said science fiction theater. Okay, but well, this was when I was a kid. It was a long time ago, or back in the early, I'm going to say early 70s, mid to late 70s, I guess. If I really think about it. Science fiction theater was on like in Saturdays afternoons. That's all I remember of it, other than the theme music, which was pretty creepy. And then, and I like that. Brian says, I'm very late. Hello all. Hey Brian, thanks for joining us. And Brad says, I'd say you're doing a great job, Brian. Oh, thank you, Brian. I very much appreciate that. Bonehead says, I believe Vampire was the first ever horror show host, wasn't she? I believe she was. As far as I know, she was the first one. She started in, I believe, 1954. I can't tell you the station over in California, but I think that's it. That's what I know. That's what I know of it. I believe she was, and I think it was in 1954 when she started that. Could be wrong. I didn't Google that before I said it, but I think so. Paul says, great show, Uncle Jack. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Jason says, science fiction theater was amazing. The theme was creepy. Yes. Yes. See, you remember. I remember. Yeah, it was a neat show. I just love that intro. I don't remember though, Jason. Maybe you remember. I don't remember, even if they had a host for it, or if they just played, the movies. I don't know. I wish I could see a clip of it or something from YouTube, anything, but I haven't. I've looked and I can't find anything. It's 8:59, folks. I'm so sorry. There's so many comments, and thank you. And that's great. Thank you for the participation. Thank you for joining me and with each other. Hope to see you Tuesday night for Chiller Chat, and I hope to see you guys on Thursday nights, or Dale at least, for the watch party. So thank you. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night, and we'll see you next week.